Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ice Cream Uploads here on Friday.
Over a year of you, Bear. If I wanted to listen to Northerners in the morning, I'd have stayed with my first missus.
Shogun Ash, straight away with the subscription. For 13 months at tier 1, we very much appreciate it, mate. What a way to start the show off. First of all, balls the tweet up. Genuinely have no idea how that even happens, but I'm going to own it. I deleted it and redid it again. But you guys seem to share it all again, so I very much appreciate that because I thought, fucking hell, you guys have already started to share it. I'm going to have to delete it. But you've all reshared it, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But Show, thank you very much for your subscription, pal. We very much appreciate it. What do you mean over a year of us pair? There's only one person that's here this morning, and that's me. I'm only joking. Graham's game will be back on Monday. Hopefully this show will be run hell of a lot smoother than it has been doing this week. I've been pressing all sorts of weird and wonderful buttons. I can't even post a tweet outright. So hopefully he'll go back to normal next week. But again, I appreciate it, mate. 13 months is ridiculous. But morning to the rest of you shaggers that are in the chat as well. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go through the little intro script again. As I said, Graham usually does this bit. I just usually sit there and look pretty. But he does this bit. So I'll read what we're supposed to put so you guys on audio podcasts think that this show is actually worth listening to. Because obviously the rest of you guys that are in the chat now, this is part of your morning routine. It's just as much a part of your day as brushing your teeth in the morning or having a shit around 10 o'clock. But anyway, besides that, here's the intro script. Are you ready? Welcome everyone, we are Ice Cream Uploads and this is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video games podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. We're bringing you the daily dose of news from from the world of video games and beyond. My name is not Graham Day, my name is Bibby, and I am joined by Bibby. He's sat right here and he's presenting this to you. We'll give you our thoughts and impressions on the breaking news stories, and we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions, and you can share those with us live at twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads each and every weekday at 10 a.m. It's now BST, not GMT. I had this argument with the wife. She doesn't believe me. I'm going to say this really quietly so she don't come in and hit me. I don't suffer from domestic abuse much. Anyway, it is important that you do, as we turn this into a live show and an on-demand video podcast that goes out on the ICU YouTube around an hour or so after we go off the air. Then, a little later in the day, the audio versions will be available on our 4 major podcast services, which are Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud. But you don't get to... on-demand listeners get to pause, rewind, and fast forward, but they don't get to add their on-air conversation. So if you are watching on Twitch, be sure to say hello in the chat, like I know that you shaggers already do each and every single weekday. But yeah, that's pretty much the spiel. I think I've absolutely nailed that. Still a duo. I see Grogu. Yep. Always watching. I know that's absolutely not, but he genuinely is. So is Sonic. It's like I'll refrain from what I was just about to say. The teddy bear police will be coming to get me. But how are we all doing, guys? How has this week been for you? It is still Masters Week. We still have 3 more days of the Masters to look forward to, which I'm very much looking forward to getting stuck into as the weekend-ish rolls on. Northern Lad, all right, our kid says return of the Mac. How's it going? Enix is in the chat as well. What was that? What was the emoticon they used there? It's happening. Yes, great style. How did you get hold of that? Is that somebody else's? That's class. Shogun says, mate, absolutely professional quality that. I actually jumped on a podcast last night. I know I talk a lot about football, but in terms of footballing knowledge, I don't like to show my hand because there is massive gaps in it. Like, I don't know fucking half the foreign footballers that are knocking about there in other leagues. I genuinely have no idea. I don't play football games as much as I used to in terms of like Football Manager and Pez, My Club, and whoever else is the best players in the world at the moment. So my football knowledge is limited in some areas, but I actually joined a Manchester City podcast last night for the first time to kind of put in my footballing knowledge to a degree. So that should be coming out at some point over the next couple of days. Maybe even today. It's the Manchester is Blue podcast. They've asked me to go back, so I couldn't have done that, but I couldn't have done that bad. But shout out to Pulpy for asking me to come on to that yesterday. I very much appreciate it with about 10 minutes notice. But yeah, that was good fun, so look out for that one. Wes says, morning Sugar Plum, return of the Mac. Jesus, my throat's already starting to go this morning. I can't do as much waffling as Graham can. It's just, I can't do it. Graham will tell you this. It's straight for he can talk for days and days and days. I'm kind of making myself out to be the quiet one here, and that's genuinely not the thing. I have no idea what he's just put. I think that's in French. I've no idea. Big Zombie Monkey's in the chat. The winner of the loot drop yesterday. And does everyone want to know what game he chose, or is he going to keep that close to his chest? I won't tell him. If he wants to tell everyone, he can put it in the chat. But that should be with you very, very soon. Very, very soon, Spike. Shogun Ash says, Graham is probably the only person who can out-waffle me. I don't know. Fucking hell, no one can get a word in edgeways between you two. Hey, there it is. Spike chose Outsiders. Great style. He already had Valheim. We said Valheim was the prize. If you already had it or it wasn't your kind of game, you could swap it out for something else. That's exactly what it does because he's already got Valheim. So, yeah, why not pick the second best game that's currently doing well everywhere else? Very, very popular game at this moment in time. But again, I feel like I'm getting into a little bit of a rambling state. I tell you what I'm going to do, though. I am going to do from going forward I'm going to try it today as a little test. If you are watching this on YouTube, I'm going to try. I've seen it on a load of video, other podcasts that I listen to on YouTube. At the bottom, they segregate it out. So they'll have like the introduction part and then they'll have the news stories, but it's like timestamps in the thing. I'm going to try and do that. That's going to be my next thing that I'm going to try and get my head around because I've never done it before and I don't know how easy it is. So this one could be the tester. I'm going to upload it to YouTube, export it from Twitch, that we usually do. I'm going to export it and I'm going to try and go in and I'm going to try and like put little timestampy things in. So if you are just here for the big news stories or the stories that may interest you, you can just skip and you can forget about the ramble that we put for the Twitch chat. Obviously, this is streamed live, and there's a lot of our friends that are in here as well that obviously want to talk to us. That's exactly what I want to do. This is a community for everybody. So yeah. Time for a bong with Up the ICU, Stay Frosty, some sort of pina colada. Is that? Oh no, it's Beaver. It's Beavis and Butthead. Page WWE Beavis. I thought it looked like a pina colada or something. And what's that? The 24K Funk. Get funky. Emote in there as well. Big Zombie Monkey says Valheim is already second on my most played on Steam. Jesus Christ, how much time have you played into that one? I mean, you've been moving house and everything. You haven't even had your PC set up, so that's a lot of time that you're putting in. But anyway, enough of what I'm going to try and do today. If you like Beavis Colada. Great style. Right, quick swig. This is doing my teeth no good, by the way, going from hot and cold. But anyway, if the teeth fall out, it'll make a very good clip. Maybe even go in the intro for the show, who knows. But our first news story of the day is a big one. I'm not sure how you guys probably feel about this one. I may have clickbaited it a little bit. Graham is probably sat there really, really proud of my clickbaiting. And I don't like doing it, but you've got to join them. You've got to join them, haven't you? If you can't beat them, join them, kind of thing. So yeah, first news story of the day. EA's dynamic difficulty system wants to predict your behaviour to keep you playing for longer. This has been written on VG247 by Don Peppiatt, and it states that Electronic Arts has patented dynamic difficulty system that can predict and respond to a player's mood and appears directly towards making your gaming sessions longer. Late just says, I just read the finished news about that. Also, I'm blind. I can't see. Oh, no! No! Right, okay. Give me a second. Again. Can't wait for you to come back, Graham. There we go. I don't know why it does that. It switches to a window that's not even there anymore. But anyway, we're back. Don't worry about it. It's just technical difficulties. It happens. Anything can happen live. Bearded Edge, good morning. You've reached us. You just come to join us just in time. Anyway, do I read the original first? Yeah, I'll read the original first. Let me just take a quick sip of my brew. Oh, yes. The patent was filed in October 2020 thanks to GameSpot, and it was made available for the public to see towards the end of March 2021. EA itself is calling the tech dynamic difficulty adjustment, and its application in-game certainly sounds interesting. As per the patent, the system has been built to perform automatic granular difficulty adjustment in a way that difficulty spikes and dips would be undetectable by a user. The goal of the system, it seems, is for EA to predict gaming habits and shift in-game challenges to better keep you engaged. The system would be trying to troll your previous gaming activity, generate a game retention prediction model that predicts an indication of an expected duration of gameplay. Based on the determined expected duration of the gameplay, the difficulty level of the video game may be automatically adjusted. The pattern notes struggling with a boss or historically having difficulty in certain enemy classes. The game would be able to detect this and scale the challenge down in modular parts rather than simply applying an easy, medium, and hard blanket difficulty to the whole game. Remember, the AI director for Left 4 Dead in a sort of sounds like that, albeit more advanced. Often, games that are too difficult or either too easy will result in less enjoyment for the user, the pattern explains. Consequently, the user is less likely to play the game. Thus, one of the challenges of the game development is to design a game where a difficulty level is most likely kept to a user engaged, keep the user engaged for a longer period of time. There's a long, ugly history of conversation and difficulty around video games, and it looks like EA is gearing up to tackle some elements of the famously divisive topic as we now enter the next generation proper. This tech will make its way into Battlefield 6. Nothing has been confirmed yet. Whether this tech will be used to make sessions more enjoyable for players or to direct gamers towards shortcuts and other progressive methods remains to be seen. And then there's a little update in here that I'll read through as well. This has been updated today, April the 9th. EA has reached out to clarify some details of this story. Specifically, following this patent was actually a continuation of the patent application, meaning it was resubmission of a patent that EA filed for in 2016. It does not contain any new information not already seen in the 2016 application. VGC24 and other source websites reported this application was new in error. Additionally, EA's statement said that the use cases of DDA described our patents and patent applications as merely examples and do not indicative. Jesus Christ. Indicative of EA's plans or intentions for that technology. EA has made a statement on dynamic difficulty adjustment where the company says that it never used the technology in FIFA, Madden, or NHL and never will. Okay. So, as I said, I may have clickbaited the title a little bit. I never indicated where the scripting was going to be coming from. However, as an all-encompassing form of scripting, can we all agree that this is technically scripting? Just for the sake of argument and the title about it being scripted, can we all say that this is scripting? Okay? It may be for the single-player mode. It may not be for the multiplayer mode. However, it's still scripting. Okay, title aside, I like this. I think that there potentially in the future is going to be maybe straight off the bat 4 different difficulty types. Okay, so you'll have one. What's this meant to be called? Dynamic difficulty. I potentially think that there will be 4 separate difficulties. I think there will be easy, medium, hard, like there's always been, and then when you complete the game, it'll be New Game Plus. You may end up getting hardcore mode, you may end up getting nightmare mode, or something along them lines down the road. However, I think dynamic difficulty is, I think that might be a good thing, you know. The game starts on normal, and if you are rinsing this game, killing people with one shot, I mean, this is all for single player, bear in mind. This isn't for multiplayer. As far as I'm aware, all of this that's been put in the pattern is all for single player use. It isn't for multiplayer. There has been many elements over the years of people that managed to data mine and find little bits of extracts where it says that there's been scripting in the multiplayer game. I don't think that'll ever get proven apart from what people can see or feel with their own eyes or hands when they're playing the game. However, when it comes to a single player, which is predominantly my area of video games anyway, I do like the idea of dynamic difficulty, and I'll tell you for why. And there's only one game, and there is one section of a game which has probably pissed more people off in the entirety of video games ever. The sawmill at Days Gone. That is probably the worst experience I've had in video games because it pissed me off no end. Not because it was bad or it didn't suit the storyline or it was just an absolute bullshit thing. It's just I thought it was far too difficult for me. I couldn't work my way. I probably tried that mission about 40 times, but I just couldn't get the zombies to go in the areas that I wanted to. There was taking far too much damage for me to take them down, and I didn't have enough bullets. But if I tried that game 40 times and it realised that I couldn't do it, rather than dropping it down to easy, because I was playing it on normal, I didn't want to do that because I thought it might mess the rest of my save up and everything else would become too easy, and I didn't want to flick it back to normal because I didn't know whether or not the technology in the background would make the zombies too easy for me to be able to take down later down the line, even though I flipped it back up to normal. So I wanted to keep it on that difficulty. Instead, I just dropped out completely, which it isn't great. I probably will install it at some point on my PlayStation 5 again to try and get through. But I like the dynamic difficulty. If you start this on normal and it's far too easy, I mean, I've been playing Resident Evil again on survival mode. Resident Evil Revelations 2, I've been playing that again on survival mode. And up until last night, well, yesterday when I was streaming it and I got to a boss fight, that's the most difficult part that I have faced in that game so far. I seem to have just enough bullets to be able to get through everything, just enough herbs to be able to get through a particular room or a particular boss battle. And I died twice in this one that I didn't think I was actually going to get past. But after 2 tries, I managed to do it on the 3rd, which is fine. It's the hardest difficulty that I've unlocked at the moment on that game. And I'm happy to be able to die a few times to try and figure it out. I imagine this is the same with Dark Souls. That's like one of the most notorious difficult games ever. But people like playing it on that difficulty. So if they start it on hard, there may be hidden difficulties in the background that the dynamic difficulty may be able to try and scale up. And I kind of like that. It doesn't suit you for the multiplayer stuff, so let's get rid of that. Let's take that out of the conversation entirely. For the single player experience, I think there may be in the future, there may be easy, normal, and hard, and then the dynamic stuff. I like that. If you keep on dying at a particular boss and you're playing on hard, it may drop that boss down to easy, and then once you've cleared it, it ramps straight back up again. That's cool. I think that's a very good pattern. Let's have a look through the chat then, see what everybody else is thinking. Spike says, I hate it when they put things in like this because you know for a fact that it will go wrong at some point. You just be playing Battlefield when all of a sudden you have 600 man strong army doing you in the bumhole. Potentially. I mean, if you've been taking down 400 man strong army, then ramp it up to 450. Who knows? As long as they don't make enemies bullet sponges like they do in The Division, that again pisses me off no end. Time for a bonk says EA can't sort their FIFA bots out. The best thing about FIFA is the sliders if you're playing single player. If you're playing through career mode, use the sliders. Matt 10 does very, very good sliders if you are into career mode. Have a look at his sliders. It'll make the game so much better for you. Lake says, can we all say winter sucks? Yes, we can. 100%. Same goes to scripting. You see, when you say scripting, everyone always points to the online multiplayer side of it. And we can all agree to at some point you felt a game go against you. Whether or not it would be you can't clear the ball, if it predominantly in sports games, if you can't clear the ball, you can't head the ball out, you end up hitting the post numerous times from 6 yards out, or your player ends up just passing the ball in a completely different direction that you wanted to. I agree, this has happened to me many, many times. I'm not going to say that scripting doesn't exist. I agree that a lot of people probably don't take into consideration that scripting ends up going for them in certain situations, but they may be just thinking that they are an absolute god because they've maybe won 4 games in a row. But the scripting's helped them out in 3 of those. It swings and roundabouts. The scripting in video games is there. We've all experienced it. It's just to a degree at what is your level of actual godness and what is the computer helping you out. But for this particular article, I'm just going to keep this as a single player experience. Because if we didn't, we'll be here for 4 hours talking about scripting. And I'm shit at football games and other sports games. So let's keep that one out. Anyway, Lake says, Spike says, I do like winter. I mean, for those of you that remember him, he was in the chat yesterday actually, Connor. I've never known someone to wear shorts in adverse weathers like he did. It was snowing outside the jelly offices at one point and the man rolls in shorts. I can't do that. Being ginger is fair skin. Samantha doesn't believe me with this, but the fair skin doesn't just mean that you end up getting sunburnt when it's 3 degrees outside. It also means that you end up, feeling the cold a little bit more as well. But she doesn't believe me with that. She just thinks it's sunburn. But anyway, I like winter when it's winter. I do not like winter when it's freezing April. That I can agree with. Went to go and play golf 2 days ago and I got windburn on my face. Asim says, nah fam, that part in Days Gone was easy, trollface mate. Me and you both know. Me, you and Gary have spoke in this chat many, many times about that fucking sawmill. Spike says, muhaha, the sawmill wasn't that bad at all. You just had to plan ahead. I did it all on my second go. Mate, you was playing on super easy. I've seen it. I was watching you play it. I was looking through your window and you was playing it on super easy. Lake says, I hate scripting when it turns my players into complete morons and you can clearly see it happening, no matter if it's Madden, NHL, FIFA, or PES. Luke says, good morning to you, sir. Time for a Bong says, FIFA's defo scripted, there's always a goal before half-time. Yeah, half-time and 90 minutes. It's any football game, it doesn't matter what it is, whether or not it's ISS, Pro Evolution, 1 on the PlayStation 1, or it's FIFA 21. On the PlayStation 5, yeah. And a 45th minute and a 90th minute goal, it's inevitable. You can't get away from it. No matter if you're playing 5 at the back, it doesn't matter. People will find a way. And Spike's agreeing with the super easy because he's put the lull in the chat. We all know. Anyway, does anybody else in the chat have any thoughts and feelings about the dynamic difficulty? Surely I can't be the only one that just thinks that this is a very good thing for single-player games. Take the multiplayer out of it. Get the multiplayer scripting part out of your heads for just 3 seconds and just focus on the single player element of the game. Surely there is single player games that you lot have played over the last 24 months, 2 years, where you think this might be a little bit too easy, or I could just do a little bit more. Like beating this boss on hard might just give me a little bit more satisfaction. That's why people like playing Dark Souls. If you go and take down a boss, that little bit of satisfaction that you get from taking it down. Like, surely to take the multiplayer part out, surely this is a good thing for video games going forward. Surely. Lake says, also in FIFA 20, there was scripting term when you lead with 2 goals. That's why it's called FIFA 20. 2-0, okay. Luke says, personally, I think scripting is inherent to every sports game. There's a massive casual market, and they need to keep them interested in the game. Hate it completely, but can see why companies do it. Asim says, if it's just single-player games and it's done smartly without being too obvious, I like it. Return of the Mac, would it not be cause issues with trophy achievements or hunters? That is the one thing that I was thinking about. I love video games. That's why I tend to try and either play it on the most difficult difficulty or at least on medium. It's very rare that I play a game on easy unless I have to beat it and we've got it in for a review and I have to beat it in a certain amount of times as fast as I can. Easy is probably the way to be able to do it then. However, if I'm sat in my room like this or I'm downstairs in the front room, I've got it on the big TV, I want to be able to play it in its absolute fullest. Medium or hard is the two that I do. And I'll tell you for why. Very good games will pop the trophies for the easier difficulties. So if you complete the game on hard, you get all the trophies and medals or whatever it is, or the in-game stuff for completing it on easy and medium at the same time. I love that. It means that I don't have to beat the game many, many times down the road just for the sake of completing it and getting the trophy. I like that shit. However, I can see why they don't do it for the likes of Resident Evil, because that game is built for replayability. If you complete it on difficult, if you complete it on hard, cool, go back, do it on easy, do it on medium, because you've completed on hard, you get the infinite rocket launcher, you get the infinite shotgun, you get the infinite pistol. Go back, complete it in 3/4 of the time. You can maybe do it in half the time or 1/4 of the time, because you've got all this new shit now because you completed on the hardest difficulty. Go back, get your trophies, pop, off you go. That's why I like some games when they do that. I can obviously see why they don't do that, but the dynamic difficulty one, all they're going to do is just put an extra set of trophies in there for you, I think. I'm not too sure. Astro says, Big Zombie Monkey points at whispers. Is it Outrider-ish stuff? Hello. Go get it, Spike. Go get it, son. Lake says, yes, that's the reason, but I'll still never understand it. Time for a Bong dynamic difficulty sounds awesome if EA is not involved. Fair enough. Asim says, I certainly finished Demon's Souls if it had something like this. That said, it might ruin the ethos of said games. Exactly. But the reason those games are hard and notoriously hard is because that's how people want to be able to play their games. There was a lot of things around the internet about people being easy shamed and stuff like that. Like, whatever, if you want to play your games on easy, who is somebody else to come in and tell you to play the game differently? I think if you complete the game on easy and you have a good time, chances are you're probably not going back to be able to do it on a different difficulty. I understand why streamers and reviewers may end up taking the easier option, whether or not that'll be easy or hard, because they need to get the game done in a certain time. Imagine they were just playing Dark Souls on Nightmare mode. A lot of people probably would never be able to finish the game before the review embargo's up. So I absolutely understand from a watching standpoint. No one wants to sit here and watch me play. Well, then again, you lot watching me suffer. If I was to play Days Gone and get stuck in that fucking sawmill 40 times, you lot would probably love that. But I understand why people want to play the games on easy. It makes no difference to me whether or not you play a game on easy or you play the game on hard. If I'm watching it, I like to watch people play games for the first time. I love going onto Twitch and going over to watch people play Resident Evil games for the first time, because I want to see that. I know what's coming. I know there's going to be a jump scare coming up. I know how difficult that particular corridor might be. I'm looking at their inventory and going, you guys are fucked. You've only got a combat knife and a gun with 3 bullets in it, and you've got a hallway with 7. I know when you walk through that door, there's going to be 6 zombies looking at you. I know they're going to be fucked. That's what I get my kicks out of, regardless of what difficulty it is. I genuinely couldn't give a shit. But there is a lot of people out there that are fucking assholes. So, yeah, it's none of their business. But I like if I'm playing a game, the dynamic difficulty sounds really, really good to me. I'd probably start a game on dynamic difficulty, if I'm being honest. If I know that it starts on medium, if I know it starts on normal, I will start it, because I want to be able to get challenged down the road. It would be a pain in the ass knowing that I haven't saved enough bullets to go through a particular area if I know it's dynamic difficulty and I've been smoking people left, right, and centre. However, it is what it is. Get good, scrubs. Get good, as Asim says. He also, Lake says, Arkanami and Pez. Spike says, Ice Cream Uploads, I'm on my phone, in bed at the moment, stupid kidneys, I'll have a look when I'm out of bed. Great style. I'm fairly certain Graham's in bed as well. Luke says, yes, same. Sanford says, I can't play games on easy, the bot's just too dumb for me. I always go normal difficulty. That's the thing. I agree with that. I think when you say easy, it's stupid to say it, but it's a little bit too easy. I like to get my kicks out of being challenged a little bit, especially in single player games. So again, it's no disrespect to anyone that's playing on easy. It's your you paid for the game. Play it however you want. Luke says, I don't want the game to decide on the difficulty for me personally. If I'm struggling, then sometimes I want to persevere, and keep trying, but sometimes I change the difficulty to easier if I'm not enjoying that mission or task. Exactly. But a lot of games, if you start on normal, a lot of them don't let you change it while you're in the game. Remember that, especially on, like, I don't want to say just survival horror, but if you're playing an action game, a lot of games don't let you change the difficulty in the game. That's the issue. So yeah, I like the dynamic difficulty. I probably would start a game if I knew it was going to start on dynamic difficulty, if that was an option. I wouldn't want it to be the only difficulty in the game. So we're getting rid of easy, normal, hard. I think that would be a huge mistake. I think this needs to be added as the 4th difficulty option. I think that would be cool. Time for Bong says, if it's not a challenge, it's not fun for me. I agree with that. Big Zombie Monkey says, the Sawmill is the only zombie experience that was what I wanted. Resi 4, Left 4 Dead, Dying Light, none of them compared to that experience. I agree. It was just too difficult for me, and I lost my patience. I think this is all down, the Days Gone stuff, we'll come back to that. The Days Gone stuff, I think, well, it is definitely my fault. One, I didn't scope the place out well enough and find out I watched several YouTube tutorials on how to do that bit as well, but a lot of them ended up leveling up, like the focus and stuff like that. Now, I completely forgot to level that part up for a long time, so all the other stuff was quite stacked apart from the focus, which in all of the tutorials that I've been looking at, the focus has been one of the main things that they've ended up stocking up. So again, that's just come down to player error at the end of the day. I can't really complain about that. Enix says, yeah, yeet. Time for a Bong says, if you get stuck in a game, that's what YouTube's for. Exactly. Spike says, I spent a very long time preparing, so I think that's why I was fine. Yeah, I definitely put the wrong perks on the wrong things. I absolutely know that. Looking at people's builds on YouTube, I definitely did that, and I take full responsibility for it. I have no idea what that gong was outside. Anyway, we've talked about this for long enough. My mouth's getting dry again. Let's move on to the next article. Now, we've got another 3 for the rest of the day. Obviously, it's Friday. It's Friday then. We like to give you give you news on 3 games that are going to be coming. So we'll leave that to the end of the show. We'll leave on a nice high for the rest of the day. But moving into the next one, this has been submitted by Gary Clark, or Mr. Gari Clark. He's working at the moment. I think he's back at IKEA. Shout out to the man, Dem. I know he's not here, but he's here in spirit because he's submitted an article for us. I'm going to take a swig of my drink and I'll bring you into it. There we go. I'll let you watch that. I probably should have flicked to the news first and then, add a swip in my drink so you're not watching me have a drink. But here we go. Anyway, this has been written on Eurogamer by Tom Phillips, and it states that Bethesda's delayed Deathloop again. Bethesda's PC and PlayStation 5 console exclusive Deathloop has been further delayed and is now launched on the 14th of September 2021. I've got something to say about that. I'm not sure whether or not it's going to be accurate or not, but I'll speak about it at the end. In a statement issued this afternoon, developer Arcane Leon... I can never say... I always say Arcane. Arkine Leon says that he wanted to prioritize the health and safety of everyone working on this game. We've made the decision to delay the launch of Deathloop to September 14th. Arcane Leon wrote, "We committed to equality of preserving our own teams and ambitions for Deathloop while ensuring the health and safety of everyone at Arcane. We will be using this extra time to accomplish our goal, create fun and stylish and mind-bending player experiences. We apologise for the extended wait and thank you all for your passion and excitement. It is the fuel that powers our creativity and our hard work." That isn't me. That isn't me saying it wrong for once. It's meant to be hard work. Typo, not on my part. It's not on a speech part for once in a mind-bending player experience. Blah, blah, blah. We can show you more about Deathloop soon. And then obviously what I've just mentioned has been put into the embedded tweet. The next game from Prey and Dishonored Studio, Arcane Deathloop, was originally due to arrive in 2020 before being pushed back to May 2021. It will now arrive on PC and PlayStation 5 in September 2021 with a 12-month console exclusivity window before it turns up on Xbox Game Pass and Xbox and Game Pass in September 2022. Okay, so what I was going to say has just been answered at the bottom of the article. I didn't know whether or not, if a game gets delayed, that the exclusivity moves with the delay. I didn't know whether or not it was the exclusivity was from May, like even though they're going to move the game to September, that the exclusivity would still run out in May. But apparently, at the very bottom of the article, it states that. But it's just another thing. I mean, we've come to a point now where it's been acceptable in the last 2 years-ish, to a degree, to be able to postpone your games. That is a world that I want to live in. I want to live in a world where they aren't getting shit left, right, and centre, and they end up putting out hot messes. I much prefer them to be able to take the time with the games. Put your employees first. Put the consumer first. There is nothing wrong with delaying your game. Yes, you're going to get shit from people who are just fucking morons anyway. But ultimately, when the game comes out, they'll be playing a much better game for it. It makes no sense to be able to just chuck this game out half-assed and then it just not do very well. You want to put a game out for it to be at the top of the charts. You want it to review very well. You want people to be going on social media and telling you that this game is very, very good. What do they get out of releasing a game in a position where they don't know they know it's not that good, but the people are crying out for it. The people are crying out for it, get it. The people are crying out for it, hate it. That serves nobody's purpose, and it just puts a massive shitter on absolutely everything that you've worked hard for. There will be nothing worse for the companies to be able to do that. So, in my opinion, release the game whenever you're ready. If you think it's acceptable, release the game. Do not pander to the very small majority that will be crying out for this game to come out, because it serves absolutely nobody. It serves absolutely nobody. Spike says, is that the one? Time for a Bong says, is that Yorkshire tea, lad? It's actually not. I've gone for a coffee this morning. The tea, I had tea for the last couple of days on it, and it's dried my throat out quicker. So I went for something a bit more moisture in coffee, and it seems to be doing the trick so far. So I'm going to continue doing that during the scoop rather than tea. Spike says, Enix says, going to see a ton of delays. Asim said, delay loop, am I right? Jesus Christ. You know what? I'm glad Gary's not here, because you two and Graham, I know he's in the chat somewhere. I don't know what he's doing, but I can't handle three of you giving out puns like that. Spike says, after the Cyberpunk issue for consoles, I say the game should take as long as they need. Same goes for No Man's Sky. Give the devs all the time that they need. Exactly. We love using the No Man's Sky as an example. No Man's Sky had one of the biggest redemption stories in video games. At one point, the fans of the games even put a billboard outside of their headquarters to thank them for their time and effort that they put back into restoring the game to what it should have been in the first place. That is unbelievable. That is genuinely unbelievable, and that is the gold standard now for when it comes to video games. Just take your time. There is no rush. The game will come out eventually. If you run out of money, unlucky. Do you know what I mean? You need better people above you to be able to manage that shit better. But just shoving the game out to please the shareholders, stakeholders, whoever it is, believe me, they will be losing a lot more money when that game goes out and it's a hot mess than it would be if you kept hold of that game and polished it for another 2 months and then look after your employees. Believe me, that will go a lot further in the video game community to the vast majority rather than the vocal minority. I am telling you now. Deathloop the next Cyberpunk then? Nope, because they've delayed it. Asim says, in all seriousness, I expect more of this. COVID and working from home has impacted so many dev timelines. Also, the Cyberpunk impact, nobody wants that again. Absolutely, exactly. We say this every single day. My Cyberpunk copy is still up there. I've got it installed. I've uninstalled it because obviously the first time I'm going to be playing it is when the PlayStation 5 version comes out. Graham is still in the cellophane wrapper in his desk. So we're waiting patiently for it. There is absolutely no rush. And it says, waiting for 2K to put NBA 21 on sale on the series consoles. Wes says, didn't Cyberpunk delay the game several times? They probably should have they probably should have delayed it for at least another 6 months. Lake says, I tried NBA 2K21 on PS5. Good looking game, but basketball simply isn't my thing anyway. I agree. The basketball games look like the gold standard of sports games. I've just got no interest in basketball. Same with the baseball games. Genuinely have no idea. Spike says, delay Resi games, not because they need to, but because I want to see Bibby's face to go redder than his hair. Don't. Bibby starts crying. Return Max says, I play Arc SE by Wildcard. I don't think they released the DLC on time ever. Agreed studios shouldn't release half-assed games. What's Arc? Oh, Arc Survival Evolved. Okay, got you. I thought it was an acronym at first. Asim says, imagine if Resi Village gets delayed though. Do you know what? I trust Capcom. My trust in Capcom over the last 3 or 4 years has gone through the roof. I trust everything that they're going to put out to be of a high standard. If they think that they need to delay it for a little bit, absolutely fine, because I know that I'm going to be getting a banging game at the end of it, so that's absolutely fine for me. Steel Bonsai with the Kappas. I'm so glad I never bothered with Cyberpunk. I think at the end of the year, you probably end up watching it on this channel before you end up going buying it yourself anyway, but I'm really, really looking forward to Cyberpunk. I don't want to play it just yet because I want the first time to experience it to be the best it could possibly be, and what my expectations are in my head of that game. I want that to be transferred to what I'm seeing on the screen. That isn't the case at this moment in time. I know a lot of people enjoyed it, but they wanted it to be something a little bit better, and I trust the people's opinions of that. There's a lot of people's opinions that I trust, a lot that I don't. And if you just scroll through your Twitter feed, and you'll see a lot of shit in there that you just think, why are you posting that? But everyone has their sources. Everyone enjoys what people say, and they trust people, and that's why there's people that we like to post and read their articles, because we trust the sources that we're reading. Tom Phillips, Vicky Blake, Kirk. I always get his name wrong. These guys, we trust what they're saying a lot. That's why we like to post their articles and we read their articles. So, yeah, definitely. Just wait. There's no rush. Jenkins, good late morning, fellas, mate. That video that you posted yesterday with the rummies dancing. You are the GOAT of Pez. I swear to God, you are the absolute GOAT of Pez. I don't know what goes on in your beautiful mind, but it's fucking amazing. I absolutely love it. Big Zombie Monkey says, I have 1,500 hours on Ark and I don't even play it that much these days. You know a person who I ended up watching a lot play that game? It was Cobra. Cobra absolutely fucking loved that game. He played the ever-loving shit out of that. Time for a Bong says, Time for a Bang? I apologise. Is that your OnlyFans name? Capcom Capcom the best the made streets. Capcom the best the made street. I have no idea. I've just blue screened reading that. Spike says, I also love Cyberpunk, but then I played it on a top-end PC and had minimal issues. You see, I've got it on PlayStation 5, so I'm waiting for that version. I could get it on PC and it might be great, but I've heard the best place to play it, ironically, is on Stadia. Ironically. Don't know about that, but apparently it is. Jenkins says, as I said, idea came during and it's David Fish stream. Jenkins says, Street Fighter, some kind of funny pun, huh? I have no idea. Time for a Bang. It's not that kind of show. It may be. If you donate £5, you get me, you know what I mean? A little bit of nipple for the lips. Anyway, enough of my nips. Let's get on to the next news article before I'll bore you to death. This is one for the shaggers as well. This is one for the shaggers. Take a quick sip of my brew off screen as well. I've only got a little bit left, lad, so don't worry about it. I bet you can't guess what this news story is about. I don't know if there's any idea on the screen at all. But anyway, as written by Andy Robinson over at VGC, another absolute legend, WWE 2K22 will debut at WrestleMania this weekend. Can someone just ask if Asim's okay in the chat, right? Just see whether or not he's okay. He's still there. Tassim Manvir, Industry Leaker, he's in the chat, giving exclusives over to VGC. You know what I mean? We're the new source. Anyway, 2K's wrestling series is set to return after a 2-year absence. 2K Sports has announced it will share a special announcement related to the next WWE 2K title this weekend. The news will be shared during WrestleMania 37, which is due to run this weekend, the 10th and 11th, streamed via Peacock in the US and BT Sport in the UK. This year's wrestling game will be the first WWE 2K title since the series skipped an annual release due to the disastrous launch of 2K20. Yeah, 2K20. I just didn't put the WWE in, obviously. WWE 2K20 was a disappointing full debut for developer Visual Concepts, resulting in one of the lowest Metacritic scores in 2K's history, mostly due to a huge number of technical issues at release. Last year, published 2K hired former Double Helix studio head Patrick Gilmore to take over WWE 2K as the game franchise attempts to enact a renewed focus on quality. Participation in a Reddit Q&A last summer, Gilmore revealed the first details of his plans for 2021's WWE game and told fans to expect a significant evolution in gameplay with the next installment. Evolution is a mystery. Does anyone else get that? Yeah, okay. All right, no. Core gameplay is one of the major investments we're making in the next installment of its 6 pillars. We are focused on Jesus Christ, these words. Disproportionately in development, he wrote. We are looking at more much loved previous games like No Mercy. Oh, imagine dropping that. Imagine dropping those 2 games in a statement like this. Oh my God. Guys, they're on the back. They're on the back. That's a huge statement. We're looking at much loved previous games like No Mercy or SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, along with top franchise installments and modern wrestling and fighting games to build an all-new philosophical foundation for the game. In November, veteran WWE developer Game Ukes confirmed it's working on a best-in-class console game for a rival wrestling firm, AEW, which is All Elite Wrestling, if no one knows. In a follow-up interview with VGC, Yuke's senior advisor from Hirome claimed that there was no rivalry with the studio's longtime partner that had now split. My goal is simply to create high-quality pro wrestling games that are loved by the community, she told VGC. I do not think of it being a rivalry with the WWE, but rather us creating a new product with AEW. I still love the WWE and respect its talent. Okay. So I can see in the corner of my eye, I'm seeing the chat pop. There is a lot of excitement from the man in the chat. I've just pressed the same button twice. I apologise. Hopefully my face is going to come back on the screen in a minute. I have no idea if it's back on the screen. I apologise. I'm having a look at the preview here. Are we there? Yeah, I'm back. Okay, cool. Right. So WWE 2K20 coming out hopefully this year. Announcement coming out on WrestleMania. I completely forgot that WrestleMania was a 2-day event this weekend, which means I'll at least be able to watch the first half on Saturday. I don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to do the Sunday because obviously we've got a show to do in the morning. We've got a show to do. I've got a job to be able to get up for. So depending on the timings, if it finishes at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I may be able to try and swing it a little bit. But anyway, who else? Who else is excited for this one? A 2-year hiatus from the main. Don't forget, we did get WWE Battlegrounds. At first, I was a bit, okay, I kind of like this. Then it kind of bored me a little bit. But recently, I've got back into it, and I actually thoroughly enjoy for what it's trying to do. It wasn't quite the All-Stars experience that I wanted, but it's still a very good brawler-type game if you're into that. It does take a while to get into it, though. However, the mainline games, they've turned from the arcade SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, Shut Your Mouth, all of the numbered games. I mean, WWE 13, I absolutely loved that game. Was that the first one where they did the Road to WrestleMania? And then they did the like the Attitude Era stuff, where you could go through the entirety of the Attitude Era, and then they do like the Road to WrestleMania where you'd be Triple H and you'd be Daniel Bryan or CM Punk or something like that. I absolutely love those games. I haven't played a main WWE game for quite a while. I think 18 was probably the last one that I ended up playing. But let's have a look at... Oh, you can't see it anymore. Let me just run this. I'm sure this is just... Yeah, there's no gameplay footage or anything like this. It just says that the announcement's coming at WrestleMania, so there's no need for that. Bring that back on the stream on the stream again. But I am super looking forward to what this is. I mean, it's been 2 years in the making. I imagine the graphics are going to look tits. I reckon they're going to be fantastic. I'm very, very looking. I'm very much looking forward to what this game is going to. I'm going to have a look through the chat. Jenkins says, "Warp sense of humor like that." Steel Bonsai with the comment. With the kappa. Spike says WWE 2K 2019 was great. I just wish they didn't put much behind paywalls as it's messed with downloading. Mate, you want to talk about paywalls? I downloaded Fire Pro Wrestling. Because I heard it was the best in class on the market. Do you realise how much that game costs if you want to have all of the wrestlers that you want? Like, I heard the custom suite was the best that there could possibly be. If you wanted to download someone and download their movesets and their entrances and all of that stuff, it's the best it could possibly be. Do you realise how much it costs to be able to get all of that stuff? Because if you wanted to download Shawn Michaels from 92, fair enough, you can get his head. But then you have to pay for his body. You have to pay for the attires and things like that. It will cost you, no short, I am not joking, about £400 to be able to play that game in its absolute entirety for everyone that you want. It is an absolute farce. I don't think any of the WWE games would have come anywhere close to that. It's a joke. But anyway, Ice Cream Uploads, and Graham says, "I feel like I'm ready to have a wrestling game back in my life." Fully agree. Time for a bang. Says the WWE games were class until 2K20, then they switched to reverse a button from R2 to triangle. Was it not triangle originally? Like in the older games? I'm fairly certain it was. I'm happy to be proved wrong. Jenkins says WCW versus NWO remake, please. To be fair, I was going to say licensing issues, but most of them have just been regurgitated in the games anyway. Spikey says No Mercy on my N64 is still the best wrestling game ever after Fire Pro Wrestling. I can agree with the No Mercy. Fire Pro Wrestling can get in the bin. It turned me right off after that. Asim says Patrick and the new team are goats. That's all I'll say. Can't wait. Graham with the Bolingoli shirt rip with Here Comes the Pain. He loves the stuff. Nailed the name Bibs. Can you see how quickly skipped over that part? WrestleMania PPV on BT Sport. That's what I thought. I'm subscribed to the WWE network to be able to watch it. If it's on BT Sport, I already have it. So I could get it for free, unless it's BT Sport box office, because don't forget they have the boxing and stuff like that on the box office. So I'm guessing that's what it is. I can't imagine it being on normal BT Sport, because I think Peacock is their equivalent over in America, and you have to pay for that. It's classed as cable. But yeah, anyway, Spike says, "I'm really excited to see what they have, but saying No Mercy, they really putting themselves on a large hype." But that's why I highlighted it. Saying Here Comes the Pain and No Mercy in the same sentence, I mean, that is just drawing. That's getting the fans into a frenzy, because they're the two games. I mean, Shut Your Mouth is obviously up there as well. Just Bring It. But, you know, Shut Your Mouth, iconic. Here Comes the Pain, iconic. No Mercy, probably the greatest one of all time. WrestleMania 2000 on the N64 as well. That was a fantastic game. I agree with WCW and NWO. I agree with that as well. I think we're all looking forward to it. The chat is popping. I think we're all looking forward to it. Wes says, "Unless Brutus the Barber Beefcake is still wrestling, then I'm not interested." Time for Bong says 2K15 was the best ever. Dare to D-Max says, "Morning Shagger." Good morning, Shagger. Hope you're okay, pal. Lake says, "Wrestling never really my thing, but Bring Me One Must Fall to a 2097 remake." I have never heard of that. Defo changed the reverse button. I can't play 2020. Spike says, "I'm guessing I'm talking old for Pro. I've not played the new version, so I'm guessing they've cash cowed it." Yes, sir. Yeah, the old Fire Pro, absolutely. The new ones, no, they've cash cowed it. Asim says, "I'm bursting to say more, but I do like my job." So soon. Look, we're all waiting. We're all on pins. Asim, we want to know more. We want to know more. Give Ice Cream Uploads the exclusive. We will be forever thankful. And the chat, they can keep promises. They can keep secrets. It's fine. Just share them now. It won't be clipped or put anywhere else. And we will not. You Tassie Manvey, they're not going to know the difference. It's fine. Time for a Bong says the N64 wrestling games was decent. Lake says OMF 2097 is the best fighting game ever, easily. Spike says, Asim, can I ask, is the No Mercy comparison fair in your opinions? No details needed. Oh, right, okay. I'm gonna wait until the answer before we move on to the next news article, because I'm very interested to hear what he has to say. I know he's putting him in a very, very difficult situation. I don't know whether or not it can be a yes or no answer, but this is what you're all here for, innit? Asim's put, ha ha ha, exclamation mark. Very fair. Patrick knows his shit. Very safe answer. Very safe answer, Asim. I appreciate what you're doing there. But anyway, let's move on to the next news article. It's the last one for the day. We like to leave it, especially on a Friday, on a very, very positive note. We love to give you news about potentially free games that you may want to put into your library, and that's exactly what we're going to do. As always, it's Friday Nerd News. Let's bring it on screen. The Epic Games Store will give away 3 free games next week. 3 out of 10. Season 2 is currently free to download. So I think 3 out of 10 is currently the one that's available on the Epic Games Store. But next week's free game stores titles have been revealed. Daedalic Entertainment's point-and-click adventure games. Why are they putting these out there for me to be able to get wrong? Like, writing I'm okay at. Reading I'm okay at until they're throwing massive curveballs like this. And how do I pronounce this? Deponia, The Complete Journey, and Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth. And David White's third-person exploration game, The First Tree, will be free to download as of the 15th of April to the 22nd of April. They replace the terrible posture game's 3 out of 10 Season 2 unique playable sitcom, in which players experience all the chaos the game developers at the world's worst game dev studio. 3 out of 10 Season 2 is currently free to download until the 15th of April, which is next Thursday. Epic claimed in January that the Epic's Game Store had attracted over 160 million PC users since launching in December 2018. The company has been giving away free titles on a weekly basis since then. The marketplace has launched, including 103 games in 2020 collectively, worth just short of $2,500 based on US prices. Epic says that it's claimed over 749 million free titles last year. Last month, Epic outlined its vision for the future of social features on the Epic Games Store, including details about its party system, which is coming soon. We want to transform the Epic Games Store into a place where you can connect with your friends across platforms effortlessly, jump into parties without voice chat, and play games together without missing a beat, it said. Wow, that was an experience, wasn't it? Okay, let's go back to my face, the moneymaker. Going back through the chat, Spike says, okay, Asim, I'm taking this as a positive. Asim with the smiley face. This isn't PES development team in Japan. Take that as you will. Spike says, Bibby's Ebonomics, the new ice cream feature. No, let's not. Ebonix. I don't fucking know. All I know is that you guys are going to be getting free games again next week via the Epic Game Store. And that's what we like to give you. I like to leave on a very positive note for you. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. I appreciate every single one of you that have helped me stumble through every single word, every single syllable of every single article I've read this week. It's been a very good week of shows, but hopefully a bit of normality will return with Graham's presence next week. The shows have been about 40 minutes. Don't be upset if the shows go back to about an hour and a half, because we like to talk and chew people's ears off. You guys like to get involved with the show. That's exactly why we carry on doing this. 344 episodes deep at this point, so we appreciate, again, all the love that you guys have been showing us and supplying us with news articles. You guys supporting us, retweeting, sharing, giving us news articles, being in the chat, listening to us on demand. We cannot ask for a better community, and you guys have helped with that along the way. So, again, if you do want to shape our show and get involved with it, as of Monday, again, there's 2 ways that you can do. First of all, find us on social medias at Ice Cream Littles across all major social media platforms. Secondly, get into our Discord. I'm sure the chat bot's on. I'm sure it is. Let's find out. Boom. Socials. There you go. It's in the chat. If you are watching this on demand, all the details that you need to know is in the description below, and we'll be able to sort that out for you. Just get direct links to absolutely everything. If you want to get involved with our Discord, the links are in there for you as well. But until Monday, guys, I don't know if there's going to be any shows after this today. Usually, me and Graham will be streaming something. Graham's obviously not here, and I have quite a bit of work that I need to get done before the weekend. So if there is, it'll be a very last minute thing. But obviously there's two things that I want you to do. First of all, look after yourselves. It's the weekend. Go and do what you need to do. Have some fun. Restrictions are lifted in a lot of places, but again, still be careful. If you can go and get one of them little test kits, we ended up getting one close to our place. Just take one half an hour before you go out. You'll be absolutely, definitely know for sure whether or not you need to leave the house or not. But just go and have fun. Be safe. Do whatever you need to do. The second thing that I want you to do, ladies and gentlemen, as always, is to stay frosty.